Have you ever looked into your cat's eyes and wondered what they really see? You probably think they see their owner, their provider, or a human friend. But according to science, your cat has never once looked at you and seen a human being. What they see instead changes everything about the bond you share. They are sending you signals every day that most people completely miss. Today we are peeling back the curtain on the silent world of feline psychology, because for your cat, you aren't just an owner. You are a mystery they've spent their whole lives decoding. Think about how a dog looks at you when you walk through the front door. There's that frantic energy, that desperate need for a pat on the head or a word of approval. Dogs evolved to see us as the pack leader, a sort of godlike figure who controls their world and their food. But your cat is playing a completely different game. If you've ever felt like your cat treats you more like a roommate than a master, you're actually closer to the truth than you think. Biologist John Bradshaw spent years watching how cats interact with each other and how they interact with us, and he found something that changes everything. Cats don't have a special human-only setting in their brains. When a dog is with a human, it changes its behavior entirely, but a cat stays exactly who it is. They haven't developed a way to see us as a separate species. To your cat, you are just a remarkably large, slightly clumsy, and hairless cat that happened to move into their territory. They don't see the house as yours. They see it as a shared colony. When they walk up to you with their tail straight up in the air, they are giving you the same greeting they would give a respected family member in the wild. That tail isn't a sign of submission. It's a sign of total, unfiltered equality. When they rub their face against your leg, they aren't just asking for food or attention. They are marking you with their scent, literally weaving your identity into theirs. In their mind, they are saying, "You belong to me, and I belong to you." They don't look up at you with the eyes of a servant looking at a king. They look at you with the eyes of a partner. They see you as a giant kitten or a mentor who somehow manages to find food without ever having to hunt. This is why they don't feel the need to perform tricks or beg for your love. They assume the love is already there, because that's how family works. They trust you not because you are their boss, but because you've earned a place in their inner circle. This sense of equality is the most honest form of affection in the animal kingdom. It means their bond with you isn't forced by survival or hierarchy. It's a choice they make every single day. When they choose to sit near you or follow you from room to room, they aren't following an order. They are choosing your company over their own solitude. Understanding this shift in perspective is the key to a much deeper connection. You aren't just a provider, you are their kin. Most cat owners have had that jarring experience of walking into the kitchen or waking up to find a dead mouse or a bird laid out like a trophy. Your first instinct is probably to scream, or at least feel a bit of disgust, while you reach for the paper towels. We usually tell ourselves that it's a gift, a little thank you from our cat for all the kibble and head scratches. But if you look at the psychology behind it, the truth is actually much more insulting and somehow much more touching. Cats don't really do gratitude in the way humans do. When your cat drops a dead animal at your feet, they aren't trying to say thank you. They are trying to save your life because they think you are a terrible hunter. This behavior goes back to the very roots of how a mother cat or a queen raises her kittens in the wild. She doesn't just hand them a meal, she brings back prey that is either dead or half alive to teach them the mechanics of survival. She watches her kittens, gauges their skills, and provides the materials they need to learn how to feed themselves. To your cat, you are essentially a very large, very loved but completely incompetent kitten. They watch you every day and they notice something concerning. You never stalk anything. You never pounce. You just wander over to the kitchen, open a loud, cold box, and magically produce food. In their eyes, you have no survival skills whatsoever. They see you as a member of their colony, who is destined to starve if they don't step in and show you how it's done. So, when they bring you that mouse, they are actually starting your training. They are saying, look, this is how you do it. Please try to pay attention this time. For indoor cats who don't have access to real prey, this instinct often transfers to their favorite toys. If your cat has ever dropped a felt mouse or a crinkly ball at your feet and meowed with a specific muffled tone, that's their version of a hunting lesson. They are offering you a chance to practice the skills they think you're missing. My cat, for example, has this one specific toy that he only brings me late at night. He drops it right by my feet and stares at me with this intense, expectant look, waiting for me to acknowledge the prey. It's easy to dismiss it as play, but if you watch their body language, it's much more serious than that. It's a moment of selfless care. They are taking time out of their day to provide for a member of their family who they think can't provide for themselves. It's an act of pure instinctive love that transcends the boundaries of our two species. So the next time you find a gift on your rug, don't just see a mess. See a teacher who refuses to give up on their favorite, albeit hopeless, student. They aren't trying to gross you out. They are trying to make sure you stay fed. And in the silent world of a cat, there is no greater compliment than being worth the effort of a hunt. Have you ever leaned in close to your cat, almost touching noses, thinking you were sharing a deep, soulful look? The truth is a bit more surprising because, in those moments, your face is actually nothing but a soft, fuzzy blur to them. Cats have incredible eyes for the dark and for movement, but they struggle with anything closer than about 10 inches from their nose. It's like they're living in a world of permanent soft focus, where fine details just don't exist the way they do for us. Where we see a specific freckle or the color of an eye, they see a shifting landscape of light and shadow. You might worry that this means they don't really recognize you, but it's actually the opposite. Because they can't rely on a perfect visual image, they've developed a much deeper way of knowing who you are. They don't carry a photograph of your face in their mind. They carry the entire feeling of you. They recognize the specific rhythm of your footsteps before you even turn the corner into the room. They know the exact pitch of your voice, even when you're just whispering to yourself in another part of the house. They can hear the frequency of your heartbeat when they lay their head on your chest, a sound that represents absolute safety. And most importantly, they know your scent, that unique signature that tells them that home has finally arrived. This is why your cat might seem to stare through you sometimes, or why they don't notice the treat you're holding right in front of their face. It isn't that they are being difficult or ignoring you. They literally cannot see the object that's close to their nose. They are waiting for the smell to hit them, or for the slightest movement of your hand to tell them where the prize is. Their world is built on motion and energy rather than static, still pictures. When you walk into a room, they don't just see a human figure. They see a familiar pattern of movement that represents comfort. They catch the slightest twitch of your finger or the way your shoulders drop when you're tired and stressed. They are reading your body language at a level of detail that we can barely imagine with our own eyes. So even if your face is a blur, your presence is the clearest and most vivid thing in their entire world. They don't need to see the sharp edges of your features to know that you are the person who belongs to them. In the eyes of a cat, you are not a face on a screen or a portrait on a wall. You are a living, breathing sanctuary of warmth, scent, and familiar sounds. They aren't looking at your features, they are looking at your soul. Have you ever stopped to wonder why your cat talks to you so much? You might hear a soft chirp when you walk into the kitchen, or a long, demanding cry when it's time for dinner. But here is something that almost no one realizes. Adult cats don't actually meow at other cats. In the wild, they use scent, body language, and subtle ear movements to communicate everything they need. Meowing is a behavior they almost entirely reserve for humans. When they were kittens, they meowed to tell their mothers they were hungry or cold. But as they grew up, they realized that we are basically deaf to their silent signals. We miss the twitch of a tail or the slow blink of an eye. So, your cat did something incredible. They reached back into their childhood and brought back a language just for you. They shaped their voice to get your attention, creating a unique vocabulary that only exists between the two of you. Your cat's food meow sounds different from their hello meow, because they've spent years training you to understand them. This isn't just a random sound, it is a bridge they built to cross the gap between two different worlds. But the most beautiful part of your bond isn't just how they speak to you, it's how they feel when you're there. In 2019, scientists ran a study that changed everything we thought we knew about feline independence. They found that for 60% of cats, their owner acts as a secure base, exactly like a human baby feels about their mother. When you are in the room, your cat's entire nervous system shifts. Their heart rate slows down, their ears soften, and they finally allow themselves to truly relax. They don't just see you as a provider. They see you as their safe place in a chaotic world. The reason they follow you from room to room or sleep at the foot of your bed isn't because they're needy. It's because your presence is the signal that they can finally lower their guard. You are the one who makes their world feel right. To your cat, you aren't an owner, a master, or even just a human. You are home. And that is the greatest gift a living creature can give to another. If this journey into your cat's mind changed the way you see the little shadow in your house, then you belong here. Join our San Wisdom Protocol family by subscribing, so we can keep exploring the silent truths of the world together. Because sometimes the deepest wisdom isn't found in books, but in the eyes of a friend who doesn't speak a word.